Hello everybody out there. Thank you for tuning into today's video message. I've got a bit of information for you first about our plans to do with starting to gather again on Sunday mornings. For a variety of reasons, it's quite complex and quite problematic to be able to work out what our best way forward is with this. And so we gathered together as a leadership team last week and really listened to God and tried to discern what he is saying to us in this time. And a couple of key messages came through that as we listened and shared together. Firstly, that God has given us everything we need right now to do what he's calling us to do right now. And if there's things that we can't use at the moment for a variety of reasons, but actually we can still meet with Jesus. And that's the second key message, really, that all that we do is about encountering Jesus. That we don't necessarily need to have everything functioning as we would like to and have our services the way that we used to or imagine having, but just that we gather and that we focus on meeting with Jesus and responding to him. So our plans, just to quickly sum them up, are that we would have a full service on the first Sunday of each month. That's up between 60 and 70 people we can have in our building under the current restrictions, with a full sound system and musicians and those kind of things. And do that one on the first Sunday. That'll include communion done safely. And then for each of the other Sundays to have a smaller gathering just downstairs, so up to around 30 people, perhaps with a bit more stripped back, with less kind of technology functioning and those kind of things, but just to come together to meet with Jesus, probably more like 50 minutes to an hour, and just to really focus in together on encountering him and hearing what he has to say to us. We'll have a system, hopefully, that enables people who just sign up at the last minute or who haven't been able to come otherwise can be prioritised. So we're working on that at the moment. Keep your eyes out for that. But we really want to begin with a real desire, and I hope you do, hopefully you do too, to begin to meet again with others in our building. I also, as part of that, on the third Sunday, we'll be looking to have an additional short service particularly focused for families, that they can come down, sign up, and just be part of a service that is more accessible for the whole family. So we'll be doing those once a month, hopefully too. We'll still be live streaming one of our services each Sunday, so that those who are unable to come to the building for whatever reason can still access our service each Sunday. So as I say, that will start with the first Sunday in May. A week on Sunday will be our first full service. So look out for links coming soon that you can sign up for that service. And the other thing I just want us to think about this morning is our series in Psalm 146, where we're looking through all these different things that God is doing in his world, and just want us to think about the question, what does it look like for us to join in with God in each area of his work in Psalm 146? What does that actually practically look like? And it's important as we think about these things that God is doing, that he isn't doing this just to some special group of super needy people who are not functioning and who are desperate and who are really just not struggling in a big way. He is for those too, of course, but God is at work in everyone. All of us have challenges and difficulties in our lives. I guess it would be fairly not too controversial to say probably all of us will have one of these areas in Psalm 146 that has or currently does apply to us. And Jesus spent his time, he didn't just spend time with broken people who were falling apart. He spent time with everybody, all kinds of different people. So there were broken people who were in desperate need and crying out to him. But he also spent time and impacted the lives of people who appeared to be functioning perfectly well, like fishermen, centurions, and tax collectors. And so what God has to say to us in Psalm 146 is it's for you. It's for your family, your friends, your neighbours, your work colleagues. And God calls us to join in with what he's doing in their lives in these different areas that apply to them. And so as we go through this series and look at these different areas, you could ask yourself, do I know somebody who this applies to? Do I know someone who fits into this kind of area? And what could I do to join in with what God is doing in his world and in their lives? And also then as a body, as Deer Run Baptist Church, asking that same question. What is God doing? Are there people in our town who fit into these categories of what God is doing? How do we as a church join in with what God is doing? And is God calling me to be part of that the whole church is doing together, either to join in with something that is currently happening or perhaps to start something that God lays on our hearts? And so just as I finish, obviously our subject for this week was about those who are oppressed, and we had a number of different suggestions in the chat on Sunday, and I think we'll continue to do that, of people who would be in that category in these days. And so just to highlight, for example, that we have our Christians Against Poverty Debt Centre, which is certainly at work in the lives of those excuse me, who are oppressed by debt and held back by that. That's a work that always needs more people to help with it, people to volunteer as befrienders, to come alongside those who are struggling, people to come along to our prayer meetings. We have very few at our Christians Against Poverty prayer meetings. We'd love to have more come and engage in prayer for that work, perhaps more to give to that work too, to be able to meet the need that we have of the costs of that work that we carry out as a church. So it's just an area as an example of something that we are currently doing, but also other things that came out of the list, that there are those who have suffered or are suffering abuse, and that others that we might come alongside, that not necessarily as counsellors, because we're not trained as counsellors, but as friends, as people who will stand with them and listen to them and encourage and support them through that. Perhaps there are people in our town with mental, emotional or physical illnesses that again oppress them, that hold them back. These are different ministry areas that, who knows, as we go forward as a church, God might call us to get involved in. But it may be through you. Perhaps there's a link with you. This is something that's on your heart, or someone you know, or some category of people that you're involved with that actually we as a church could begin to help, and you could lead us forward in those areas. So do be reflecting and thinking as we cover each one of these areas. Is there somebody I know personally who I could join in with what God is doing in this work in his world? But also, is there something that we as a church could be doing together that I could be involved in? Something that we're perhaps already doing, or something that we could start, that enables us to do this work that God is doing, to join in and to be alongside him in all the work that he does in his world. So we'll continue to look through Psalm 146 in the coming days. This Sunday, it's about God giving food to the hungry, so we'll be thinking about that area. And again, as we get there, we'll be reflecting, what is it that we can do to join in with this work of feeding the hungry that God is doing in our world. So great to have the opportunity to chat with you. If you've got any questions or comments about the Sunday mornings, or about any of this other stuff that we've talked about, do get in touch with us by email. Emails are known, obviously, and just feel free to contact us. We love to hear from people. It's really great to hear from you, and hopefully we'll see you in church on a Sunday morning very soon. Good to talk to you. Bye for now.